So welcome to this introduction and an overview of the Freedom Food Project. We're going to be discussing first of all the elements of each of the modules and why nutrition is so important. Improving nutrition has a profound effect on the behaviour and your desire and your resilience to be able to recover from addiction and keep that recovery going. So what we do know is that substance abuse causes all sorts of depletion of various neurotransmitters, so chemicals in the brain. So, and the lack of these particular chemicals can lead to things like food sensitivities, to poor digestion, to added stress on the body, and also to increase your cravings. And it's not just for the drug, but actually for junk food. And I know that, some of you may be experiencing that already. So the other thing that we know is that it's very common as you recover is that you will suffer from things like depression or anxiety with actual physical health problems as well. And these kind of outbursts that you have when you're going through this roller coaster means that not only are you likely to crave your drug of choice, but that you will also be craving the fix that you've created that has replaced that drug, if that makes sense. And for some of you, that may well be food, or it could be caffeine, or it could be fags, or something else. So what we know is that a good balanced diet can really change the thoughts, the behaviours, the actions for you as recovering addicts. And there's a guy called Dr. Bernard Gersh, who found that improving young offenders' diets, for example, resulted in a 25% reduction in criminal offences. So we know that nutrition has a massive effect on people. What we also know is that if you are nutritionally deficient, you are more likely to pick up the habit. So you are more likely to suffer with an addiction to a substance if you are in a position where you are not nutritionally healthy. So what we also know is that a recovering addict is much more likely to have shorter lifespans, to suffer with chronic illnesses because of either long-term substance abuse or because of lack of nutrition when you're in and out of those periods. And what we also know, and what we're going to be looking at as well, is that it's not uncommon for you to have lost your healthy kind of relationship with food. Unless your essential nourishment is supported, it means that when you're in post-recovery, you're more likely, or you can experience things like obesity, diabetes, heart disease, memory and learning issues, cancer, and poor sexual function. So, even people that go into rehab facilities, however, that have kind of nutritional programs, when they come out, it is not uncommon for them to have replaced their addiction to drugs or alcohol with sugar, caffeine, or nicotine, as I said. So what this program is about providing you with awareness, support, practical help, so that you can understand the positive effects for you on healthy eating, and kind of give it to you as a motivation as well, for you to perhaps change the way you think about yourself, your diet, your personality, because your personality is very linked to your personal reality. That sounds really interesting, and we're going to dive into that at some point. What we know is that there is a close link to nutrition and addiction, as we've said. So what we look at here in the first step formula is we're looking at the basic facts, the evidence of previous case studies. We'll go further into that. We'll have some group discussions about what your addiction has done to you and your body. We'll look at physical effects on things like appetite, sleep, the absorptions of nutrients, your mental health, food sensitivities, things like that, and intolerances. And we will also do a health assessment. The second thing we're going to look at is your relationship with food. So we do know that when you're using, or when you have used, there will be periods of times when the relationship with food has changed. And so we're going to look at this healing reactivation, looking at your relationship with food in the past, what it's like now, and also how you might want to improve it going forwards. So even looking at your physical experiences around food as well. And then we might even persuade you to try some new foods, and maybe look at how we can create ways for you to have your favourite foods, but maybe in a more healthy way. And the next thing we're going to be looking at is controlling these cravings. So I have a friend of mine who was an alcoholic, and I think she's been in recovery now for possibly 19, 20 years. And she realised after about 15 years that she had switched her alcohol craving for Coca-Cola. And it wasn't only the taste of the Coca-Cola, and I think she eventually changed to Diet Coca-Cola, so it wasn't just the sugar, it was actually the sound of the can opening. She never bought bottles, she bought cans, because that sound gave her the feelings, the endorphin feelings that you get, or that she used to get with opening her bottle of beer or whatever it was that she used to drink. So what we're going to be looking at is how we can cut the crap. And a big part of this as well is about blood sugar balancing. A lot of what we're going to be doing here is looking at balancing your blood sugars, so that, because this is the key to controlling your cravings. And that's not only for people that are diabetic or insulin resistant. This is for anybody that is suffering with addiction, because sugar actually has proven to be a bigger addiction, and it's more difficult to come off than any other. So if you put mice in a cage and you give them cocaine and sugar, their food of choice, their drug of choice will be sugar over cocaine. And that's the power of sugar. We're also going to be looking at practical ways of doing this. So, yeah, it's all very well, Jill, but how are we actually going to do this? So we're going to do some practical stuff. We are going to be cooking, or I'm going to be cooking and recording this so that you can go and do it afterwards if that's what you need. Going out and doing some shopping trips, either with somebody else or on your own, kind of having a bit of a look around. I'll be encouraging you to be a bit more experimental about what you buy and why you should buy it. We'll be looking at creating things like food diaries, food and mood diaries. I'll be giving you things like menu plans, shopping lists, wonderful downloads for you of cookery books which have videos in them as well. So, if you like the recipe, you click on the video and the video plays and it teaches you how to cook that particular food. And then exactly what to eat. So what should your daily diet look like, and why should it look like that? So we're going to talk about the importance of having a healthy gut and how that affects you as a recovering addict. We're going to be looking at improving your immunity. At this time when we are recording now, just come out of the end of total lockdown through COVID-19, immunity is really, really important, and particularly anybody that is a recovering addict, your immunity by definition will be lower. We're looking at balancing hormones, creating better habits and better routines as well. And then there's a big correlation with food and mood, which is why when we do a food diary, we also do a mood diary. So you're going to learn an awful lot about yourself during the next few weeks. Some of it you already are aware of, but it's really quite interesting when you dive down deep and you're really honest with yourself about what you're eating, when you eat it, and how it makes you feel. Because that will have a direct correlation on your ability to recover and stay off your chosen substance. So this is the mood method that I've created, and I think that for me is a really important part, because although I'm a functional nutritionist, I have a nursing background, and I'm really interested in the physiology of dis-ease. This is a mind, body, soul, or mind, body, spirit approach that I take. So you won't just be hearing about nutrition. We will be doing some other things as well. We have a correlation between the gut and the brain. So for example, if you get nervous, we talk about, I've got butterflies in my tummy. If I was to ask you to run away from a marauding tiger, your stomach would immediately knot up because all the blood's gone to your feet so that you can run away, which means that your digestion just completely stops. And that's out of fear. So we know that when your cortisol and stress levels are up, that your digestion doesn't work, for example. So we know that there's a big correlation between also depression and gut. There's a gut-brain axis. So I'll tell you a story about that with my son when we get to that particular part as well. And then also, realistically, we know that we have to budget for how we're going to eat in this particular way. And a lot of people say, well, I don't have enough money to eat healthily. That's not true. But there is a bit of a mindset piece about that. But also I will be giving you ideas about how you can eat really healthily, but actually doing it on a budget. Because I know that's really, really important.
I'm so excited for you and so excited to be working with you on the Freedom Food Project.